What's up?
Not much. How's it going? What are we prepping?
So tonight we're getting ready. We've got our second of a 3-part interview series. I guess it's number. Actually, we're getting ready for number 3 out of 4 interview series for a startup accelerator. So this one's called Generator. It's based out of Milwaukee, and we really like the style that they take with their accelerator. They basically only accept 5 companies per cohort. And what that does is it kind of puts you in a position where they're picking companies that they know are going to succeed, or that they know they can pick a team that they can mold and help to shape and and move to success. And so it's kind of a lot different than a lot of these other accelerators that you find. So right now we're getting together tonight. We've got our pitch on Wednesday, so we've been building out pitches for these guys specifically over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, and so now we're just going back through. With each consecutive stage of interview, the length of the pitch increases in time, and so first pitch, or the first phone call interview, was just a quick phone call. You get to meet the people, and then you apply online. So normally you apply online. Don't ever try applying to an accelerator without scheduling a call during their open office hours or trying to make contact or something like that. If you're applying for any accelerator outside of the top 5, outside of 500 startups, Y Combinator, outside of 500 startups and Y Combinator, you should almost always see if you can get in touch and get a warm introduction to the team of the accelerator that you're applying to. I guess some of the exceptions to that might be a couple different Techstars locations, but normally, especially if you're outside of Boulder, if you're outside of Silicon Valley, the Bay Area, or any large cities, a lot of these organizations like Techstars will go around and do open office hours in different cities. So be engaged in your community, look for those opportunities, and you will be surprised who's going to swing through and come through your town. Salt Lake City isn't the biggest city. Granted, it's a lot bigger than I'm sure a lot of people's startup ecosystems, but nevertheless, if you can't get through that way, they almost always have a digital open office hours. So sign up, ask questions, get in front of them, and let them start to see who you are as a person, as a team. It's so important. So we're getting ready. Just wanted to take a minute and share with you some of the resources that we use, or have been really valuable to us as we prepared, both for our business and for pitching. So early on, we really like using the business model generation canvas book. So this will help you kind of nail down your business model, understand what your value proposition is, so essentially what value you're providing the customer with, and it lets you map it all out in a visual way to show and communicate really clearly and effectively to early team members, your initial people you're trying to bring on board with your idea, whether that's your first hires or maybe friends and family if you're trying to get them to invest. And so it looks like it's a huge book, but really there's a ton of pictures, and so it reads really fast. But it's a framework for you to organize your thoughts around, and so super valuable. Can't emphasize enough how valuable this book is. You can get them online for I think I bought mine used on Amazon. I own 3 of them because I've bought them and then given them to members of my team. Because I want to make sure, because I as soon as I get people on my team, I indoctrinate them into my way of thinking. So it's brainwashing, so that the team will be on the same page. Another really great one, which is a kind of subset of this business model generation book, is this value proposition design book. And so this really goes over how to test assumptions, how to make assumptions when utilizing a lean business model canvas, similar to what you'd find in the business model generation book. The difference is this one really focuses in on the tests, hypotheses, and understanding your customer's pain point and your product value proposition, so that you achieve product solution fit or product customer fit with your product. And so, of course, this is early on. This is going to help you to identify what your problem is, clearly define it, what is and is not your problem, help you clearly define for your team and for the people around you what you are doing, who your customer is, what your customer is looking for, and you'll be surprised, and I'm sure you'll be surprised to find out what a lot of these pain points are for your customers, especially as you get out of the door and you start talking to them and asking them. I know we were super surprised when we very first started testing our product with people, and we had our prototype and we went out and we actually started cooking for people. We realized that there's a couple subsegments of people that we assumed would be really great customers, but through testing we realized that they weren't going to be the people we wanted to target initially. And from there we were able to kind of refine our business model, refine our product to make sure that our product was exactly what was needed and nothing more. It's really important to be able to boil it down to that minimum viable product, because if you don't boil it down, then you're going to increase the amount of time it's going to take you, and it's going to cost you more, and you're going to miss out on sales and possibly miss out on that entire opportunity. So that's a really good one. But now for pitching, just for pitching. So I've read a lot of books about pitching, watched a lot of tutorials. Robert Kiyosaki's Art of the Start is sworn by every old person I've ever met to be the best, go-to guide for how to pitch and what to do. But there's still a lot to be desired with Robert Kiyosaki's method of pitching. And honestly, it's not always flexible enough to meet the criteria for the different kinds of pitches you're going to encounter when you're starting your own company. You're gonna need pitch decks that you can email to people. You're going to need a pitch deck that you can, in that email one, it's got to have photos, it's got to have the right design, but it also has to have all the content succinctly written, clearly written, in a manner that conveys the same message and emphasis that you try to convey in your other pitches, but in a written format. And it's hard because you don't necessarily have, you don't have the freedom and I guess, for maybe some people are really, really well written, but they don't have as great a presence in front of other people. I am very much a people person, and so I succeed especially when I get out in front of people. And so for me, it's definitely not my strongest point, but you need to be able to master that. The other big part is you've also got kind of different pitches. So there's a kind of demo day pitch, which is a little bit different. I'm not going to be focusing on today. And then there's these investor pitches. And these investor pitches, I was talking a little bit about it earlier, but like with Generator, the way they do it is with your first pitch, you get 5 minutes and 10 minutes for Q&A. With this next pitch, we're going to be pitching for 15 minutes, and it's 35 minutes total. So 15 minutes pitch, 20 minutes Q&A, and then that last pitch opportunity is actually an hour-long meeting, interview / pitch, which will occur later on down the road if we make this cut. Because they go from, they went from I think it was like 200 or 300 teams to 60 teams, and then they go from 60 down to 10, and then they'll go from 10 down to 5. And so we're in the 60 to 10 opportunity right now. But this book, Get Backed, which you can check out in the comments below. I love this book. This is an incredible book. It is an up-to-date how to pitch guide. And not only that, the way that it's laid out, first off, it matches the size and format of every other great new book, which is important. Publishers take note. If you want to produce a functional book that people are actually going to use, you've got a new format. Use your designers, because your designers will make it beautiful and will want to read it. Because we're creative. Entrepreneurs are creative. So, get backed, craft your story, build a perfect pitch deck, launch the venture of your dreams. So, they go through 2 parts, right? Part one is how to create your pitch. Part 2 is get backed. So basically everything after you pitch. What do you do? How do you follow up? So much valuable information in here for young founders. I can't even begin to explain. But I will. I will begin. So they basically walk you through how to even come up with a pitch deck, a little bit of history, but then they go down and they break each part down into slides. What's your problem slide? Tell us your solution slide. What is your traction slide? Who is your customer or your market? All of these things, and even in-depth parts. How do you size your market? How do you do a top-down evaluation analysis of your market? How do you do a bottom-up analysis or estimate of your market? What is the difference between total addressable market and your target market and the current market saturation? And so all of these things are important. Other things, competition, business model, these are all things you expect. But where they really go above and beyond, is that they go through and then they start outlining. First, they talk about the slides, the actual content. Then they talk about how to take it and break it down and synthesize it into a story. And I can't tell you how valuable that is. Another part that I really, really love about it is that they have this entire section on extra slides, which these are all extra slides you can keep in an appendix within your pitch deck. But these are things that people might want, that your investors will want to know about, but they may or may not apply or fit directly in with the flow of what the investor is looking for at that present time. And with everything that I'm saying, please remember this. There are no rules where it comes to investing. The only thing that matters is that you are able to persuade the investor ethically to go through with your investment. And so, that being said, some investors want a pitch deck that looks a certain way. Other investors want a pitch deck that looks a completely different way. So, tailor every pitch deck to your target audience. From there, they talk about how to craft the arc and story of your pitch. Then they go into design, how to design it, what to do, what not to do, just how to make it not look like you're just straight out of high school or straight out of college, making it look all shabby or not, whatnot. Because in a lot of ways, your pitch and the visuals that you present and you put forward, that is your first impression. It's not just the way you dress, it's not just the way you carry yourself, but that design is the foundation for the user experience, and those assumptions are carried forward into what your investors assume your user experience will be like in your app. So, don't slack on design. If you suck at designing, learn how to do it, at least a little bit, make it look better, clean it up. And if you can, get a designer on your team because you're probably going to need one. You're better off finding a good one sooner rather than later. So overall, the rest of it talks about pretty much everything you want to do, and it's got an entire, it's got a 60-page section on pitch decks that have been successful. It tells you how much they've raised, what they've done, and it's cool to see pitches at different stages and how they performed. So, again, can't tell you how highly I recommend this book. It's great. And if you are a startup now and you're trying to start a company and you don't have this book, you're at a severe disadvantage. So, I'm sure we'll post something in the comments below so you can find it really easily. Cool.
I knew something was going on.